This is picture I drew of Eren as Titan with Mikasa sitting on his shoulder, maybe whispering sweet nothings into his ear. But I thought was very, very fitting considering this is episode right before shit hit fan. Attack on Titan, episode 24, Mercy. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Titan Nation. I, of course, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the epic tale of Attack on Titan, Shingeki no Kyojin. The last episode left us with, the shit kind of about to hit the fan. At the end of the episode, we saw Armin, Eren, and Mikasa attempting to lead Annie underground. They, of course, suspected her of being the female Titan. At the end of the episode, she would not go down there, and ultimately wound up turning into a Titan. Armin tried springing a trap on her that they had set, and she was being captured, bound, and gagged. However, she had a ring on her finger that had a little spike on it that she was able to I guess cut herself, prick herself with. And at the end of it, we just kind of saw the lightning and the explosion sort of thing, and know that the female Titan is a coming. So this episode picks up right where the other one, right where the last one left off, and it's actually kind of cool because I know that a lot of people talk about filler as if it's a bad thing, and really sometimes in a show like this, I'm sure sometimes there is filler that's put in that's garbage, that's not necessary, but at least so far what I've seen in here helps to give some substantial background and really kind of shows some of the character development, the plot, the things like that could not or were not laid out properly in the manga. So really what we wind up getting is the beginning of it is, of course, Mikasa grabbing Eren and Armin and just going and saying, nope, we're too late, and trying to run in underground into the tunnels. As they're going down to get into those tunnels, I mean, they can see that Annie has turned into the Titan. The female Titan, they're running from her. She's reaching her arm into the tunnel, trying to grasp at them. They're trying to get out of her reach over there. And Eren is real shook up. There's some back and forth, and at the beginning there's some flashback. And the flashback is to right after Eren was pulled out of the female Titan's mouth, and Mikasa, and then of course Levi had injured his leg, which we see more prominently now in this flashback. We see back at headquarters Levi and Eren, and they're just kind of sitting there, and they're waiting for Erwin to get there, and Levi is talking about this and that, and you can tell he's kind of favoring his leg. So whether he sprained it, injured it, twisted it, broke it, we don't know. It was injured though. And Erwin winds up getting there, and Erwin shows up, and he has like Armin, Jean, Mikasa, like all of Eren's buddies in tow. And they sit down and they talk with Eren, and Eren, I think, maybe suspected that Annie was the female Titan a little bit, or maybe on a subconscious level, but he just didn't want to believe it, wanted to still think that she was good. Maybe he's got the hots for her. I don't know. But they sit down with him and they say, listen, first of all, we think we know we think we've uncovered the identity of the female Titan. And it goes on to say about how Armin's the one who figured it out. When Armin went and was trying to distract the female Titan when Jean was about to get nailed or whatever, and he started saying, oh no, yeah, you take care of him, you suicidal bastard, he was referring to and trying to trick the female Titan, thinking that this female Titan knew them, and that was his plan. And she froze up and hesitated when he called him by his nickname, which only somebody in the 104th would know. That's number one. And number two, he went on and on to Jean about how avenge his death and this and that, and it got the Titan to freeze up. So that's how he figured out that the Titan was looking for Eren, because the Titan went and froze up when she thought that Eren might have been killed already, might have been dead already. So, and there was a number of other things, and then of course the maneuver gear. He knew that when they went and they did the maneuver gear check, that Annie actually had Marco's gear on. And then, Eren's like, well, what does Marco have to do with this? So he immediately was thinking what I was thinking, that maybe Annie killed Marco so she could take that maneuver gear, thinking ahead that she would need it. I'm not really sure, and I can't confirm that. I can just say that's my viewpoint on it. So that's what I have come to the conclusion of. So we get all these little tidbits, and it all starts to add up. And he's talking about, her fighting style. And can't you tell? And there's actually a series of two flashbacks, because then it goes back to the tunnel. And they wind up going and they're going to meet up with third squad and they're going to fall back on plan B, whatever that is. And as they see the squad down the tunnel and they're getting to go closer to him, all of a sudden Annie's foot just comes in and collapses that part of the tunnel and it just crushes him, And it's like, what the hell? He's trying to kill Eren, or maybe she's trying to kill Eren. And Armin says no. She just made a calculated risk is what she did. She figured that she was hoping that she wouldn't get Eren and that this way it would kind of block us in or force us to come out one or the other. So Eren goes and then starts to, the whole plan is he was going to turn into a Titan and he's going to go toe to toe with her, right? So he goes and he's, okay, fine. And he bites into his hand like he normally does. Nothing happens. And Mikasa starts questioning him and she's like, you do realize that Annie is the female Titan, that she's bad, that you can't harbor any, you can't have any feelings for her, right? And I don't know if it was Mikasa being a bit jealous, I can't really tell, or if it was, or what, but she gave him this death look, like you better not have any feelings for her. But it might have just been like, hey, don't you get it? She's killed all of our, she's killed all these comrades of ours, all of our, all these other people. And that's what she's trying to get through to him. And Eren's like, of course, denying that he has any type of feelings for her still. And he's biting into his hand. I'm trying, see? But what it is it's not just the focus and the trigger. He still has his reservations about Annie, He's starting to put two and two together, and then when it goes to the flashback again, they then talk about the plan that they're going to enact, and basically this plan that's come into play, and Erwin's talking about what they're going to do with the decoy, and they're going to get in Stoa's district, and this is going to be the last opportunity they have before Eren gets turned over to the government. So Erwin was in on the plan too, which was cool. Erwin and Levi, everybody, and they really kind of put it together. And Eren's like, well, yeah, but what if she's not the Titan? And Mikasa says, listen, don't worry about it. If she's not, then at least we'll have found out that she's not the Titan. Nobody's going to get hurt if she's not. The whole idea was to lure her out and to draw her out. The problem is that she knew from the beginning, Armin deduces, that even when he was talking to her in the alley and everything, that's why she pulled the ring out, like she did and got ready, because she knew from the beginning that something was up, that there was no way that Armin would have just asked her out of the blue for this, so that's what he suspects. So we found out about that, and then we also see, and it's kind of cool, we actually see how Eren got his frickin' head kicked off. They're explaining, to him in this flashback, don't you understand the fighting styles are similar? Didn't you recognize it? And they actually show the female Titan after she turned around when she got nailed by Eren. She's got her hands up like this, one hand a little lowered, one a little higher, in like this boxer stance. And then it goes and it shows like her, the silhouette of her, and how he saw her back in episode 3 or 4 when they were fighting, and he kind of kicked, she kicked his ass and everything. And it shows, and then you go and you see like her foot, and she kind of goes and like cocks her leg back and just throws this mighty roundhouse kick that just takes his head clean off his shoulders. But what happened at that moment is I think like he hesitated, and I think in his like subconscious, whatever state he's in when he's in this Titan, I think he recognized that was her, that was her. And maybe he didn't want to believe it, maybe he didn't remember it when he came out of it, but I think that's what caused that hesitation, was he saw that fighting style and it like triggered something in his head, like, hey, this is familiar, I know this person, I shouldn't be beating the shit out of her. But anyway, she wound up kicking his head off, and we know the rest from there. So it's really kind of cool how everything weaves together with this. And then it takes us back into the present time, and of course, Eren still can't turn into the Titan. He's having trouble. He's freaking out. And then Armin says, you know what we're going to do? There's this area this way, and there's this area this way. One of us, Mikasa's going to go one way, I'm going to go the other way. The Titan's going to be drawn to one of them. The other exit will be free then, and then Eren can get away, And Eren's like, and they just go start running off, and Eren's like, whoa, what are you guys doing, right? And they're like, listen, we're doing what we have to, okay? So as they go and start to go and take off, all of a sudden the Titan goes and stomps in right by about where, and the Titan during this whole thing female Titan has been stomping here and there and crushing parts of the tunnel. She winds up stomping in, and a bunch of rubble goes and falls onto Eren, right? And he's just completely covered in rubble, and we don't know if he's dead, if he's injured, what's going on. Armin comes running back down the tunnel to him. Mikasa goes shooting and jetting out of there to get the female Titan away, and she's got a this is a cat fight anyway, because she, at least at this point, because she's got a lot of feelings towards that female Titan. She doesn't like that she's moving in on her territory with Eren. So she starts, coming at her, trying to distract her and get her away. We then go and we see kind of back towards the capital, some of the military police going and saying, hey, get ready, that explosion wasn't right, and they're still kind of just standing around though. And then we go and we see Jean jump out of the wagon and pull off his little wig that he was trying to impersonate Eren, and he's like, I need to join the fight. And Erwin's like, listen, everybody with maneuver gear, get it on, get the shit going, we gotta go. He didn't tell the military police about what was going on. So the captain of that, the captain or lieutenant or whatever, the commander of that, that's there right now, that ranking officer, is like, what's going on? We can't, and he's like befuddled. Well, Jean winds up going and getting permission to join the fray. Levi looks like he's out of commission for this battle because he's still injured. And ultimately, Erwin is going to say, hey, listen, anybody who's able-bodied, come with me because we got to take this thing down, he's thinking. Well, they wind up going and putting their guns up to him, and that's how that part of that ends, is that Erwin is now, I don't know if he's captured or what, and they're like, this is treason against the crown type of thing, against the monarchy. So then we go back into action, and we see Jean and several others that have come to, and Mikasa's really the only one doing anything to the Titan. The other survey corps or military police or whoever that are getting involved, she's just whipping them around, grabbing them, and one of them even makes mention, she's familiar with our tactics and how the maneuver gear works, and because she knows how it works, she knows which way they're going to spin if they shoot this way and then that way, and she can predict their movement patterns and snatch them out of midair. So I think that's what they're getting at. She goes running down the street though, and then all of a sudden in slow motion goes running by the side, and we see Hanji. Hanji we saw actually a couple of minutes before, and she was kind of like, ooh, getting ready. Well, as she goes in, it goes into slow motion, she's running by. Hanji has set a trap and has fired a bunch of those harpoon things at her, right? Pulls the Titan down. It's like a David and Goliath type thing, or like a Gulliver's Travels type of thing. She's like pulled down. She's laying on the ground. They go and they throw this spike net over her, they're all good to go. Hanji comes jumping down, and she's like, holds a sword up to her eye, and she's like, ha ha ha, yeah, I'm going to be the one. You're the terror, huh? I'm going to be the one to dissect you now. Well, she winds up going, and the female Titan is able, she still has one arm free, and they didn't use enough harpoons, is the bottom line, because she just goes and whips her arm out and knocks a bunch of stuff away and is able to free herself. And as she frees herself and starts running and causing terror again, the whole time Mikasa has been back and forth, slashing at her arms, slashing at her legs, her ankles, everything, right? And even Jean went to go and try to get her in her weak spot once, and she hardened up the spot, blocked it like she normally does. So none of that stuff has been working. The whole time Armin is trying to go and to get Eren back to it. He's laying here. He's got a piece of like shrapnel sticking out of his chest. He's covered under rubble. Actually, at one point, Jean came to help him too, but then more rubble came down on him, and Jean just took off to go help Mikasa and the others with the Titan. But Armin's going and trying to wake him up, and he's trying to trigger something in him. And he basically goes and he says, he says something to the effect of, for those that aren't willing to risk, you're never going to get anywhere. You know what I mean? You're never going to get anything accomplished unless you're willing to risk it all. And he's trying to get that through to Eren, into his mind, into his subconscious, hoping that he can fight this and that he can get out of this, right? So Armin goes and it goes to give up on him. He goes to leave and go distract the Titan, do whatever he can. And he starts coming down the street. Mikasa has actually gotten nailed once, and she looks like she's not in great shape. But really what they're doing is they're trying to retreat and just see what they can do to hold this thing. They're still trying to capture it, kill it, whatever. They're not having any luck with it. And then all of a sudden you see just kind of the climax of what the next episode is going to be. And it's just Eren. And he all of a sudden it like clicks in his mind. He's all bloodied and shit, and you can see his eyes just bulging. And all of a sudden he's like, I'm not going to give up type of thing. And he starts envisioning different things, all the bad things that have happened, to comrades, friends, whatever you want to call them, his buddies, his cohorts, his friends, fellow trainees. But then really what happens, and I think the straw that breaks the camel's back on this one, is he goes and it shows the image of the Titan picking his mother up from the rubble and just going and just eating her right from the side view. And that goes and triggers it, and all of a sudden, man, he just gets that look in his eyes, and he just starts, and then you see the big explosion, and there's people and then they show like people from the other side, what the hell is that, because there's another explosion now, right? And we just kind of hear the roars, because he's crazy and vocal when he roars. He's like a goddamn lion, and he just looks really cool too, with like the long hair and the way his ears are pointed up. He just looks like this like feral type of Titan that's almost like not even a Titan, almost like an animal. Really, really cool looking, and that's what it reminds me of. And he gets up, and there's just this anger that he has inside of him. And this is something that I think is truly cool, because other people are driven by many different things. They're driven by their family, by love, by hate, by... Eren is driven by, ultimately, it's the loss that he had, and he wants to kill and eradicate this world of Titans. That is his goal. That is what he wants to do. So when he gets focused, you just see the hatred in his eyes and just the anger. And so he's going and he's running, you know, amongst the buildings to go to get to the female Titan. The female Titan is kind of at the end of this alleyway or street that kind of opens up into a little courtyard with like this little building in the middle. And he just goes and comes at her and just jacks her up, man. And she goes flying into this building, breaks into the building, you know. And you kind of, you know, like I said, you just know because you can kind of see it in his eyes and you can see it through these flashbacks and everything that the shit is going down here. He is going to fucking end this one way or the other. And only 2 people are entering this area. Only 1 are going to leave, or Titans, or whatever you want to call them. So that's my whole take on it. That's where things leave us off over here. And certainly I'm excited for, for the season finale. I'm probably going to do like a live reaction type review to it. I haven't really quite decided yet, but I think it's truly going to be epic. This series has been great in so many ways, and really I think is certainly a great thing for the community as well, because it's starting to bring in so many others that maybe aren't familiar with anime or manga itself, and it's bringing so many others and opening it up on a whole new level to many, many more people, I think, and that's really what it's all about. So my episode question is going to be, what do you think as far as their plan that they had set up? Because they had the plan A, which was lure her down into the underground. That was the original plan it was supposed to be. And Eren was going to turn into a Titan, and, you know, they'd be fine. They'd be able to capture her down there. She wouldn't be able to do much. That didn't work out. Plan B was obviously to go and, or maybe that was plan A, was just to lure her down there and capture her. Plan B was maybe Eren. Plan C was the one Hanji came up with, trying to actually stop her. None of the plans actually worked, but do you think that it was smart how it was handled? I mean, Erwin didn't tell the military police or the garrison or anybody else to clue in on. Maybe he figured they'd think he was crazy after all the losses he had sustained. But you know, truly, I think there would be strength in numbers, especially if you were thinking about unleashing one of these things inside the walls. So what do you think of the plan, I guess you would say, is the episode question. So leave your answer to that question, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button, if you should think that my sorry ass deserves it. And subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching you in the next one, nation.
Remember, brothers and sisters, to share, subscribe, spread the word of the nation to others, and of course, if you like watching the videos, you know, watching them is always much appreciated. Have a nice day.